Hello everybody, and welcome to another release notes. I am back in my trusty Web Manuals hoodie, and I'm happy to present this release for all of you. The Christmas sprint is over, and that means that we are back to 2-week sprints on monthly releases. We spent the Christmas sprint, the very long Christmas sprint, and this release doing a lot of cool, small, interesting things that we found to be amazing. And some of the improvements that we are doing are also really nice for our internal staff. Something our internal staff has been asking for throughout the year that we could then put in here during Christmas. So with that, we are happy to be back with the release notes. Also, during the sprint, the release that I'm not mentioning here too much is that we spent a lot of time on our word import improvements and our EFB improvements as well. More on that later. And to start us off, we will talk a little bit about the reader. Because in the reader, we have added a small thing that was asked for by a bunch of customers because they could not see the document name in the compliance connections on the compliance page because of space in the columns. So now we have made the document name so that it has a pop-up. So if you hover over the document names, you will get a balloon that states the entire document name, thereby making it a lot easier to know what am I actually connected to. For admin, we have a few changes as well, quite a good handful actually. First off, in the editor, on the table of content, we have changed it so that the new standard table of content lines stated is 30 and not 20, thereby making it a lot faster to create table of contents when you have a new document, since most of the page setups we have nowadays will support 30 lines instead of 20, so you don't have to change every single module. That should just make a tiny life improvement for people creating documents. Further, moving on to search and replace, we've changed that as well. We had people coming to us saying that they wanted the search and replace to be able to go through the entire manual. It did that before, but on pages that was not in draft could not be changed or updated, and then you would need to draft them manually. Now the search and replace will also allow for the replace to actually auto draft the page, making the experience a lot smoother. And now as well in the editor, check for warnings filter settings will make the checked warnings a lot easier, because after you've checked for warnings and applied filters, then you go to a page you want to fix, you fix it and you went back, the filters would actually disable, having you to activate the filters again to find out where you actually were. Now the filters will remember what they were, thereby will make that travel back and forward between pages and the warnings a lot easier, simpler, and just smoother as well. In the editor as well, for page structure, we have disabled the add remove shortcuts in the page structure panel while you have an unsaved change to a page. The problem is if you add a page or remove a page in the page structure, the content becomes inactive because we can't change content while we're adding and removing pages. And it was actually able via shortcuts to lock both of these sides at the same time, which wouldn't really work well. So of course we have disabled those functionalities or the quick shortcuts so that you won't get stuck there. Only a few customers experienced this. Thank you for those of you who reported it, and now you won't be able to get stuck again, which is a good thing. And for the last thing here in settings, we have added quite a few date options so that you can have even more different dates on your documents. So if you're an admin, go in and check your date options, the time settings. There are new options for you, so try it out. In this specific case that I want to mention is that we have added dashes as date separators instead of dots, and a lot of other things. Enjoy. And now for bug fixes. We fixed a little thing in the editor, an issue with the spell checker, where the spell checker could, if it was handled in the wrong way, it would inject code into our HTML, thereby it could actually cause some content to disappear. Of course, that's not great. It only happened for very select people, but just to make sure we've covered it so that it will not happen to anybody. That is fixed. For templates as well, speaking of content acting in strange ways, in the template child setup, if you had specific text sections added to the child, when you were synchronizing, the child would say, well, these actual things does not match what I get from the parent, and it would put them in the wrong order because of the customized text sections. That is now fixed. The text sections will stay where they are and everything will be well. Another thing that we fixed in the editor was that the moving up and down of text sections, which we added the last release, was causing issue when you moved it to a new page, or moved the text section to a new page and then tried to merge it with an existing text section on that page. That could cause issues. That is now fixed as well. The typical, you fix something and then you cause another issue somewhere else. But it's now fixed and it should be all well and good. Let's see, in the menu, for the menu, we have fixed a small thing. None of you have actually seen it. It was seen by an internal staff member. But if you have a user that does not have a name defined or a last name defined, that user would show up as null, which is nothing in the menu, of course, not looking great. So now if you don't have a name of any type specified, it just will not show anything. Which is of course a lot cleaner, and it will help the OCD of one of our staff members here. Another thing for roles, and that comes from all of you, the role lists and user lists could be a little bit slow to load, especially if it held a lot of content. So a lot of roles and a lot of users, those lists would load quite slowly. That is now fixed. It has been optimized, and you will see that role and user lists will just run remarkably faster than you've seen before. And the last fix I have to mention here is in the notification emails that we send out. Sometimes the reader links that you could click would not take you to the specific location in the manual. It would only take you to the top of the manual. Those are links from compliance libraries and things like that. And now it will work correctly as well. Besides all of this, we have also been working on cleaning up the compliance functionality and how it works. Meaning that we are removing advanced functionality, making the interface a lot more lean for customers not using it. And for the very last thing, I just want to mention that for the next release that we do, which is in February, we are throwing everything we have at the new EFB and at the word import wizard. That means that the new EFB will come out in February, so you can put away your torches and your pitchforks, please. It will be there. And with that said, expect a little bit less smaller improvements, because we are just giving it everything we got to get this out, get it polished and get it nice for you. With that said, enjoy the new year, enjoy the new release, and have a good one. Bye.